Okay.
You love it when Prime packages are about this size.
Oh, look, there's our address. This is the spooky episode. I don't know. I don't really read that many spooky books though.
Like I've said, I'm a vibe reader. So this time of year, I like to be in my spooky era. We'll talk about some recent books that we've read in this kind of theme and, you know, our thoughts on them. And then later on, I did some Amazon Prime shopping and got some Halloween themed books that came in. So we'll do an unboxing as well. If you guys are new here, I'm Ali. This is Gia. Welcome to Book Date. We'd love it if you'd like and subscribe to our channel so that we can continue creating content.
I mean, we're gonna do this anyway, but thanks.
That's true. That's fair. Cheers.
All right, I'll go first. So my first recommendation is actually one that I think I read last year, and this is the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. This one's actually was pretty surprising, and I think what I like the most about this book is actually kind of the premise. It is actually exactly that. It is a book club of Southern Georgia housewives, and they come in contact with a vampire, and they have to deal with a vampire that is terrorizing their small town. It sounds silly, but it's actually like super dark, and it has these situations that aren't so much as scary as just so uncomfortable. Especially this writer. This is actually the first book that I read by this writer, by Grady Hendrix. I also read How to Sell a Haunted House, which I think is his most recent release. That one, I can't really recommend that one. It wasn't, the premise was not as fun or as entertaining as this one. There wasn't really enough mystery or suspense or anything like that. It was just spending time explaining the personal problems of this one family before in the second half actually getting to the mystery, actually getting to the horror, actually getting to the reason why you read these books. This one, from the very beginning, even when it's not dealing with anything scary or mysterious, is actually just kind of like a fun group of characters to hang out with, because it is just a bunch of like housewives going to a book club and talking about the whole culture of being a housewife in a nice neighborhood of Georgia. And then, you know, the vampire comes around. So I actually would recommend this one to pretty much anybody. It's actually pretty scary. There are moments in this book that things happen that you're like, your skin starts to crawl, because it's not something that you've ever thought about, and it's a situation that just feels so icky. What do you got over there?
Let's start off. I was gonna start off light. You dove right into it.
That was the first one on my list.
So
my next one is way worse.
Okay. Oh God. All right. So let's do a little bit of spooky light. My first recommendation for this time of year is The Dead Romantics. If you are an avid romance reader, but you still want the vibes of Halloween, gothic, dark, this is a great pick. I just finished reading it a few weeks ago, and I gave it a 4 stars. Loved the characters, loved the premise. Basically, she is a ghost writer.
Okay. For
an author, and she now has a new editor who's putting a harsh deadline on her, and she is kind of in a romance
deadline. I can do this too.
I love you. And she's kind of in a slump after a really tough breakup, and she just doesn't have it in her to write anymore. And then something really, really, really tragic happens, which leads her back to her hometown. Really fun read, especially when you add into the fact that she can see ghosts. And she is kind of like a medium who typically is supposed to help ghosts pass on to the, your next life. And then, not a spoiler alert because it says so on the back of the book, but if you want to skip ahead, skip about 30 seconds. She gets to her hometown, and guess who is the ghost she sees? The hot editor guy.
Hot editor.
Who put that harsh deadline on her. Dun 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 dun. Okay. Really, really great. So Dead Romantics, and then it's her kind of falling for, but it's just cute. It's like she's the ghost writer, the deadlines, the seeing of the ghosts, and going back to her hometown. A lot jam-packed into a pretty quick book. That was my only thing I didn't like. I feel like there was a little too much going on, a little too many characters, but really fun ride with this one. Highly recommend. Little bit spooky, a little bit gothic. Her family owns and runs a funeral home. So it's just, you see layers. It's a lot of layers.
Okay.
Very, very good. Highly recommend.
Okay, I'm gonna go in the opposite direction. My next one is The Road.
I've never read that. I have no idea what that's about.
The Road is one of the most depressing books probably that you could read. It's probably one of the darkest as well. It's kind of, it's basically a book about, I mean, they made a movie with Viggo Mortensen a while back. Basically, it's just an apocalyptic era, and a child and his father are just trying to traverse the United States trying to get to a safer part. But it's basically like The Walking Dead, except way darker, and there's no zombies. Just the people are the ones that are actually the danger. And it goes to some pretty dark places, and the whole idea of the book is that even when times are tough, you should still try to find a way to stay human and to stay good, even when there's no reason for you to be good in the first place. But the Road is a classic. I don't know. I would say that it is horror because it is just heart-pounding. The situations that happen in that book, that it feels like a train that's coming that you just can't stop. You want to read probably one of the darkest books with a somewhat happy ending. I'm not really gonna spoil it, but yeah, The Road. It's just a good recommendation.
When did you read that?
A few years ago. I was dreading it. I was kind of putting it off because it's yeah.
It's a short book, right?
It's very short.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen it. It's like super, super thin.
Yeah, but I would recommend it, but it's just, just don't read it if you're looking for a fun mystery or a fun horror. Or just a horror period. I mean, this one is just a dark book.
Hang on, I'm adding The Road to my TBR.
Uh-huh.
To read.
All right, what else you got?
You sold me on that one.
Okay.
All right, let's up the ante a little bit. Classic. I'm sure a majority of people who watch BookTube have already read this one, but I must say it anyway. Let's give it up for Verity by Colleen.
What is this one about?
A girl who's also a writer.
Okay.
Who has been hired to finish a very popular book series by an author who is in a coma.
Okay.
And she has to go and live in this author's house and continue writing. And she's there with the author's husband.
Okay.
And son. And the lady is in a coma upstairs and finds a manuscript of a story that is in first person of this author admitting to killing her daughter. So now the new writer, her name is Lowen. She's the main character. She now has to struggle with reading the admission to crimes by this author that's been found in her
and
desk.
then a love triangle ensues between her, the son, and the father.
Sure, but a lot of creepy stuff is happening. Obviously very hard to describe this one without giving too much away. But yeah, she starts falling for the husband. Instead of doing her job and writing the continuation of the series, she is enthralled in reading this manuscript of this horrible, horrible woman who's literally lying in a coma upstairs. But a lot of creepy things are happening.
Who put her in that coma?
Ooh, now we're talking.
All right, nice.
And who is making all these creepy sounds in that room? And where are all the creaks of the stairs coming from? And why does it feel like she's being watched?
Because the lady's not in a coma?
I don't know, you have to read it. It's so good, guys. We all know. No matter what, you can guess all of these very clear things. You can guess, but you will never, ever see the last chapter coming, the epilogue.
Okay. I won't because I'm probably not going to read it.
You should. Okay. It's very, very fun. When I tell you it's my favorite plot twist of all time, the ending just completely blew my mind. And if you haven't read this already,
maybe.
This is a classic recommendation for this time of year. Honestly, I kind of want to reread it again, you know, just for fun. All
right. My next recommendation, this one. Okay, now we're going to get a little lighter. I get it. We're going to get a little lighter. It's 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hugo. It's
Stop.
I'm kidding. It's Evelyn Hardcastle. This one is one that I read last year. It was probably the best book that I read at the beginning of last year. This is like a Clue type mystery, inspired mystery, a whodunit, but it has a massive twist, kind of like an Inception, like the movie Inception. It has, I don't want to spoil it, but it has this idea of kind of reliving the same day and then trying to solve a murder. At a masquerade ball thrown by her parents at their English country house, Evelyn Hardcastle will die. She will die every day until Aidan Bishop can identify who murdered her and stop the killer.
At the beginning of each day, Aidan wakes up at the Blackheath house in the body of a different guest of the gala he attended the night before. So it's reliving the same day over and over in different perspectives.
See, that's why I don't read the back of books. That I already think is a spoiler.
Yes. However, when I started reading that book, I was so confused.
Yeah.
I was so confused. I was so lost. And now I'm thinking back on it. I'm like, maybe if I had read the back of the book, which we never ever do, that would have helped me. Because I remember turning to you, I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. And you told me, just keep reading. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. Eventually.
Obviously,
so by the third time, by the third day, or the third time that they relive that day, you kind of figure it out and you kind of catch hold on it. It's like, oh, okay, I get what's happening now.
Think of us as giving you the cliff notes to figure out the first 100 pages.
Super entertaining, super interesting. The premise is very new. I don't think I've ever seen this before. It's basically Groundhog Day, but with a murder. That being said, you're not gonna figure this out. Just don't try. I just wish it was written in a way where you can maybe figure out the ending, or maybe
maybe we are underestimating our viewers. Did you guys figure it out? For those of you who did read it, did anybody see that coming?
I would really like to know if anyone thought.
Me too.
I would like to know if anyone ever figured this out.
Yeah, that'd be super cool if you did.
I don't think it's. I just don't think it's possible.
Right, but you never know. Maybe. We should reread it, because I honestly think reading this book again will help me so much in understanding it.
Maybe. And
maybe there are clues that we just overlooked because we were so focused on understanding what was happening that maybe we did miss clues that would have eventually led to what happened at the end.
But I have to admit that the book is written in a way because of the fact that you relive the same day over and over and over, almost 7 times. Even if you kind of don't understand what's happening in the first or the second or the third day, by the time you get to the 5th, every single day summarizes the other days. And you get to see the other things that were happening from the other characters. Yeah. So you kind of grasp, the more days you relive it, the more you grasp what is going on. So I just don't stress it.
Alrighty, so my next one is very, very moody, very, very, the ambiance is on point. As with any Gillian Flynn novel, I feel like she's just the master at creating this like tension in her books. This like all the characters are so gritty and so dark. It's like makes you sweat a little bit. We have read a lot of Gillian Flynn and we do really, really like her. This one I don't see as many people talk about, and this is such a quick, fun read. Very, very creepy. It's, again, Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I'm gonna read my review straight off of Goodreads because I think I read this back in 2018. It's been a while, but it's always stuck with me. And I feel like I did a pretty good job with my review. Once again, Gillian Flynn delivers a deeply dark mystery that'll have your skin crawling in the first chapter. When Camille Preaker returns to her home to cover recent murders of 2 little girls, she realizes too quickly that her decision to flee her hometown years ago was the right one, and that perhaps she had all the answers with her all along. She's basically a journalist who goes back to her hometown to cover some murders. What she finds is absolutely horrific and justifies the reason why she has left her hometown and never looked back. So really creepy, really quick, fantastic Gillian Flynn read.
I would also recommend Dark Places.
So would I.
Dark Places, I don't know why, but I always feel like it's one of the dark rock songs that I used to listen to, like Nirvana or like Smashing Pumpkins or something like that. Like I just felt like one of those songs was going on the entire time that I was reading it. It's one of those books where, like, again, all the characters are just kind of grimy to the point that they feel real, like real people.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that book just kind of encompasses like the entire town until the point that everybody's just involved in what's going on. So,
which is also themes in Sharp Objects as well. I feel like Gillian Flynn just does that so well.
Yeah, the suspense,
the small little
something's
town.
always happening in every single chapter.
Every single character is suspicious. Every single character seems to be like they could be the bad guy, and you don't trust anyone, not even the main character.
Right. So Sharp Objects, Dark Places, definitely recommend those, but those definitely lean more towards the mystery / thriller.
Did you ever read this one?
No, actually, I don't
You
know. I should
definitely read it.
I should probably read that one. Yeah. So basically, my next one is The Shadow of the Wind. Again, no, so this book is mainly on this list, even though it's because it's, well, I mean, it's very fitting. It's basically this like romantic gothic tale set in Barcelona in 1930s, 1940s. I keep talking about this book because I just really like the ambiance. Like the first half of this book is, you're kind of just sitting there wondering what's happening, what's the point, what's the objective or the conflict that's going on. But the atmosphere is so good, and if you get to the second half, that's when everything really does solidify and it starts to bring together all the stories of all the different characters that it's been telling you. But yeah, you're about halfway through and you seem to not be able to get through it. I get you. Anyway, but the second half of the book actually gets even darker. It starts to introduce this horror aspect with this specific character that starts to play a bigger role, and then things actually start to get pretty scary. You have almost haunted mansions type things happening. Yeah, like the book really does kind of make this turn from just like a dark gothic Barcelona to a full-blown horror book. I'm
still 233 pages in, so I guess that second half that he says redeems the whole book and makes it so great. I haven't gotten there yet. Yeah, because I'm so sorry, I'm bored.
Like just sitting in the night under one of those street lamps in the mist. That's what this book feels like.
All right, let's talk about my most recent read. I have added another 5-star book to my collection, and I am so excited. The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Holy cow, was this fantastic! When I tell you, this book literally gave me chills. It literally made my heart pound. And then at the end, I bawled crying.
Yeah, you actually did.
I was crying.
Were you next to me when you started crying?
No, you got home that night and I had just finished the book and you walked into the bedroom and I'm in bed with actual tears running down my face. This book made me feel everything. Scared, sad, happy, hopeful, nostalgic, just like, wow. This book gave me feels. I can't say too much because he is currently reading it right now.
I will give you the synopsis. It is basically this caretaker of elderly people that has a tattered past or a mysterious past, and she's going to this mansion by a cliff to take care of an elderly woman that is suspected of having murdered her entire family when she was 17.
Suspected, accused.
Everybody thinks she did it in the town.
Yeah, there's not much saying that she didn't.
I gotta admit, so far from what I've read, I think I'm 10% of the way in. The book moves, things are happening. So far, so good. It's pretty entertaining. I haven't had enough time to really get into it. I don't know why, but I think I've been cannonballing so many books lately that I kind of, this one...
You're in a book slump. You're in a reading slump.
No, because it's good. It's just like my ears need a break.
Yeah, no, I get you. This is definitely one that you can, if you work really hard and pay attention to the little details, you can start figuring out what's going on. I guessed about 2 mysteries right. Guy is on track. He came in the other day and he's like, okay, so this is this and that. I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. So it's definitely satisfying in that sense. But you will still be surprised by something because there's a lot of surprises in like the last third that make total sense, that have been hinted at since the first page, that will surprise you. It's such a good book. It's just a good book.
Okay, I'll read it. I'll finish it.
Read it. Everybody read it this year. I know it's his newest one. Highly superior to the one I read just before that, which was Final Girls. I had high hopes for it. It let me down a little bit. I think I ended up giving it 3 stars, which is good. It's just there were certain aspects to the book that I feel like it's one of those where things are, you're trying to figure it out, and then at the end, it's just kind of all explained away super quick in like 1 page, and then we're done, and the book is over. And it's like, great concept. The mystery at the end, I didn't see coming. That's why it does have redeemable qualities. I did not see that twist coming, even though I probably should have. Really great. Just the execution starts off really strong, and then the last few pages are really good, and the middle just kind of gets lost, and I'm like, dang, this could have been a lot better than it was. If you had to choose between these two, 100% read this one.
Okay, I got one more. And this one is, I would say it's a little bit, again, it's pretty gothic. This is from Neil Gaiman, American Gods. It's another kind of classic. It's one that I read a little while ago. The basic premise of it is a newly released inmate is essentially paid to be a private driver for this mysterious old man. Eventually, he kind of discovers that this old man is the personification of a god. I won't say who it is. And they go through this journey to go through cross-country trip where along the way they meet all the personifications of all the different gods that have been brought over to the Americas by the people that believed in them. It has a bunch of references to like Norse mythology, Egyptian mythology, Greek mythology. It has a bunch of comments to say about our society and the things that we worship and the things that we have forgotten and other things.
That you
It's great, but it's also pretty dark because a lot of these gods, especially the older gods, yeah, they were pretty violent and pretty, merciless. And I love books that have references to like either history or other things that I'm interested in or other things that I like. It's like a little callback. It's like, oh, I know about that. Thanks. Makes me feel smart.
No, make me feel smart. No. So then, that's all my main recommendations. And then, I literally, in like one night, like 2 nights ago, read The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. Basically, you have an ex-con who is currently living out of her car, she's got nowhere to go, and she lands a job in as a housemaid for a very affluent couple and their young daughter. So she's moving into this house full time, and she is staying in the attic upstairs. But the attic, the lock is on the outside of the door. Bum, bum, bum. And I tore through it in like a matter of hours. Super easy to read. Like, I will say the writing, it's not flowery, it's to the point. If you liked Gone Girl, you'll like this one. Okay,
what did you spend the money on?
So, let's see what's in here. It's exciting. It's like I know all the books I ordered, but I don't know what this one's gonna be.
Oh! Look at that. I've read this one.
Club. You read it?
Yeah, not scary. It's kind of like a mystery, and it also has a fun premise. This is actually a bunch of retirees in a retirement community trying to solve a mystery. Like, you literally have a few of them that were cops, or one of them was a nurse, or one of them, and so they actually have applicable skills to solving this mystery.
Prime Day is awesome for books. I think the books were like $6. It's great. And they're brand new, which I'm gonna do a video soon on buying books on a budget. I feel like too many booktubers, not to throw shade, but I feel like so many people are going to Barnes & Noble and spending so much money when there are so many online resources to find new and used books for so much less. And if anybody knows me, they know my Aliana Zamorano, bougie on a budget. Ooh, this is so cool.
What?
Yeah, I know.
That looks interesting.
This is by Grady Hendrix, the same author who wrote Vampires.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check this out. This looks like Stranger Things.
Okay, so this is my best friend's Exorcism, which is, I think, one of his original books that like put him on the map or something. But I look at this book. It looks like an old VHS tape first off.
That's very cool. Very
but
cool.
Then it also looks like, I pulled it out, I'm like, but this wasn't supposed to be used. This is off of Amazon. This is supposed to be brand new. But it's because it looks like an old VHS tape that's been in a closet for like ever. Oh, that is so cool. Very excited. I think I'm going to read this on Halloween.
You know what's one of my favorite things about this author is that all the names of his books are basically what the book is about. Like, it literally is what the book is about.
Yeah, it's funny. And kind of satirical.
Yeah. Because
they are so out there, but that is what the book is about. Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
how to sell a haunted house. You know what they sound like? They sound like old, like, Goosebumps.
Yeah. And you read the title and you're like, there's no way that's what the book is about. And then you start reading, it's like, no, yeah, that's pretty much what the book's about. Oh my god,
it's so funny. I'm still under my parents' Amazon account. What's the point? My dad pays for Prime. I'm totally gonna ride that wave until he realizes. But so we all have access. He'll probably be watching, and he'll probably be like, "Hey, that's fine." But my mom, I go over to the house the other day, and she goes, "Aliana, what did you order the other day? Like it looked something like really, really horrific, Nana. I don't know, but it seems like you ordered something like really horrific, like satanic, demonic." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, the book called My Best Friend's Exorcism." And she's like, "Nana, don't read those things." And then the other books that I ordered, but they haven't arrived yet, is Practical Magic, the book that the Practical Magic movie with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman is based off of. I watched that movie years ago. I know it's like a cult favorite, so I want to read the book and watch the movie as an adult so I can remember it. And then, the other one I got on Prime Day was Red Rising.
Ooh.
So
I recommend that one. Yeah. You'll like it. I think you'll like it.
So yeah, I'm excited.
It's like a better Hunger Games.
Lots of fun new books to read. That's about it. We're wrapping up. After all of this, we've got maybe 2 more months of reading to hit our goals. You don't know how many books you've read this year yet?
More than you.
I believe I'm at 26 out of my goal for 30. So thank you guys for watching. We hope you have a fantastic spooky season. Give your recommendations for spooky books down below.
Out of all the books,
yeah,
if they had to read one, which one?
The only one left.
The only one? Ooh. I would do Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires.
Yeah, very, very vibey. But yeah, hope you guys have a happy Halloween. And stay safe this Halloween, guys.
These are both empty.
Damn it.